noise and movement to a minimum. Mr. Jimmy Haley presiding. Folks, if you have a cell phone, please turn it off or put it on vibrate. Please remain standing for a word of prayer. Also, our pledge to the flag.
We want to welcome to the podium tonight Jonathan Womack, who's going to give our invocation. So, Jonathan's a local resident and homegrown boy who's a Baptist preacher, I believe, in Woodbury. So, thank you.
Let us pray. Father God, we just come to you humbly. We thank you for what you've given us and freedom, and Father, even as a county. Father, we pray for our commissioners. We pray for all the leadership. Father, you would lead, guide, and direct us, each and every one. Father, we just thank you for your mercies and your grace, and Father, your forgiveness. All these things we pray. We pray for your will to be done in each and everything. In Jesus Christ's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If you'll remain standing for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You may be seated. Before we call the meeting to order tonight, I want to thank each and every one of you for coming here today. We have some scouts. You'll be able to see democracy in action. And so I would also like to address the board and our audience. This September session marks the first anniversary of this legislative body when our full commission elected me as its chairman. It's been a remarkable journey with so many accomplishments to celebrate. Collectively, we have risen above our challenges and done much for the county we serve. I'm very proud of our commissioners' work over the last year. We could not have done it without your leadership. The county's success is measured by our success as a commission. I think you have a copy of some of our accomplishments that I emailed out to you earlier last week on your desk. However, I think we all acknowledge the governing process has been a learning curve, but with so many positive results. Have there been mistakes? Certainly. None of us are above that, not even me. We're human. It's what we do. So let us put those things behind us now. Time to forgive, time to reconcile our differences, and time to move on. United, we stand firm. I think this meeting gives us ample opportunity to do just that tonight. It is the best interest for all of us. It is the best for our county. It's what the people want. Respectfully, I would like to continue as chair of this commission. I think it's what the voters expect as part of my leadership role. It has been the traditional honor given to the office of the county executive for generations. Whatever the outcome is tonight, I will respect your decision and work hard as we continue the progress mandated by the voters who elected me to this office. They expect no less from any of us. And let us remember, none of what we do as elected officials about any of us. It's not about me. It's not about you. It's about the people of Warren County. That is who we represent, and that's really who matters here tonight. Thank you for your service to all of our residents. With that being said, I call the Warren County Board of Commission to order for September 16, 2019. First order of business is roll call.
Michael Bell.
Here.
Carl D. Bolden.
Here.
Carl E. Bolden.
Here.
Carleen Brown.
Here.
David Dunlap.
Here.
Randy England.
Here.
Deborah Evans.
Here.
Steve Glenn.
Here.
Richard Grissom.
Here.
Stephen Helton.
Here.
Robert Hennessy.
Here.
Lori Judkins. Ron Lee.
Here.
Gary Martin.
Here.
Daniel Owens.
Here.
Gary Prater.
Here.
Christy Ross.
Here.
Scott Rubley.
Here.
Tommy Savage.
Here.
Tyrone Spartman.
Here.
Joseph Stotts.
Here.
Philip Stout.
Here.
Cole Taylor.
Here.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Here.
23 present, 1 absent.
23 present, 1 absent. Ms. Judkins had an issue at home, so I just talked to her on the phone, and so we hope the best for her. Next item is adoption of docket. You have a copy of the docket in front of you.
Mr. Chairman,
Chair recognizes Commissioner Wiltshire.
I would like to amend the docket. If possible, I would like to amend the docket to bring elect chairman up to immediately following the adoption of the docket since our chair has expired.
We have a motion. Is there a second? Second from Mr. Prater. All in favor, amend the docket, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
No.
So amend the docket to move election of a chair to the first order of business.
Mr. Chairman,
In that motion, well, in that motion, I'm not sure what it includes.
only electing the chair, and I would like to add another amendment to the docket by placing in its place, in number 1, the election of the chairman pro tem and parliamentarian as to item number 1 of new business.
So I have a motion from Commissioner Wiltshire to amend it with the second item for a pro tem and a parliamentarian. It's not normal procedure, but we have a second from whom? Second from Commissioner Carl D. Bolden. All in favor of that amendment, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Not sure what that vote on was. That. We'll do a roll call vote on. Roll call vote on that.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
No.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
No.
Steve Glenn,
No.
Richard Grissom,
No.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Robert Hennessy,
No.
Ron Lee,
No.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
No.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christy Ross,
No.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
No.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change their vote? Yes, 9 no.
14 yes, 9 no. So we'll amend the docket to also include those two items, moving those up to 1 and 2. I guess that means changing the others down by 1 or 2. We'll get there when we get to that point. So we have a motion second to amend the docket. Now do we want to approve the docket as amended? Is there a motion?
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
there was a mistake in that order. The order was to be immediately after the adoption of the docket would be the appointment of the chair. That was what he was insinuating, instead of going to item 1. And that's what,
That is correct.
yeah, that's correct.
Once again, do we have a motion to amend the docket, to approve the docket as amended?
I make that motion.
We have a motion from Commissioner Wiltshire. Is there a second?
Second.
Second from Commissioner Spartman. Any further discussion? Then all in favor of the adoption of the docket, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? So we have adoption of the docket. So instead of reading the minutes, we will now have election of chair of the commission. So I guess we will take in motions for chair of the commission. So
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Blaine Wiltshire.
we have motion to elect Blaine Wiltshire as chairman of the commission from Commissioner England. Is there a second? I second that motion. We have a second from Mr. Bell, Commissioner Bell. Is there another motion from the floor?
Mr.
Yes,
Chairman,
Commissioner Lee.
I'd like to nominate you, Jimmy Haley, as our
We have a
chairman.
motion, Commissioner Lee. Is there a
Second.
second from Commissioner Brown?
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that nominations cease.
We have a motion to make nominations cease. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. Who was that from? Okay, Commissioner Helton. Then all in favor of these candidates to be included in a vote for chair, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. So first item of business is election of chairs. So it will be, I guess, in alphabetical order.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
can I speak to that motion?
We've got a motion and second to have a vote for the election, so chairmanship. So we'll have a roll call vote between myself and Mr. Wiltshire. So chair recognizes Commissioner Evans.
I've been thinking about this since Commissioner Wiltshire announced his candidacy. I've been talking to lots of voters who are in shock that anybody could unseat their duly elected county executive. I have the list of the voting by district. District 1, Executive Haley got 401 votes to his highest opponent, Terry Bell, which was 179. The difference was 222. District 2, Executive Haley got 756 votes to his highest opponent, 284. District 3, Executive Haley got 636 votes to his highest opponent, 196. District 4, Executive Haley got 321 votes to his highest competitor, 200. District 5 was 358 votes for Executive Haley to his highest opponent, 239. District 6, Executive Haley got 302 votes. His highest competitor was 136. District 7, Executive Haley got 396 votes. His highest competitor was 266.
Mr. Chairman,
District
I
8.
call point of order.
We have a call for a point of order. Does anybody else wish to speak or carry on, or do you want to go ahead and call for the vote?
Call for the question.
That's right, but if anybody else still wishes to speak, if there isn't any opposition to it, it has to pass by 2/3 to, so.
I think tonight this is not a vote for or against Mr. Haley or Mr. Wiltshire. In my opinion, this is a vote for or against the citizens. The citizens told you when they pulled the lever who they believe should lead this commission, wholeheartedly. And it is up to us to listen to our citizens. He lost only one district, and it was only by 44 votes. I think your answer lies in that. Does for me, anyway.
We're going to call for the motion, so. Yes, Mr. Prater. Chair recognizes.
I just want everybody to understand, you'll still be our county executive if you lose or whatever. I mean, we're not out-seating anybody.
Anybody else wish to speak? So evidently, there's still some comments to be made. Otherwise, we're going to call for the vote. Clerk, call for the vote.
We'll do it alphabetical. Is that how you want it?
What?
Or you want to do it alphabetical?
No, I mean, with me first and then second alphabetically. No, we'll just go through the regular.
Are we voting on the question? We had a call for question, so are we voting
did,
on
but
that?
We were still, people still wanted to speak, so,
Right,
yeah, you have to ask it, otherwise it goes straight to the motion.
okay, so we're going
People
to the
still, we're
vote.
going to the vote.
Okay, who is going to be on the agenda first?
If we're doing it alphabetical, it'll be Mr. Haley.
Okay, all right.
So this is for Mr.
So we'll be
Haley.
voting for Executive Haley.
The first candidate for the office of chair, you'll be voting for myself. So you can vote one time. So,
Everybody ready? Michael Bell,
No.
Carl D. Bolden,
No.
Carl E. Bolden,
No.
Carly Brown,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
No.
Randy England,
No.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Steve Glenn,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Helton,
No.
Robert Hennessy,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
No.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
No.
Christy Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
No.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
No.
Joseph Stotts,
No.
Philip Stout,
No.
Cole Taylor,
No.
Blaine Wiltshire.
No.
Anyone want to change your vote? The results are
No, the results?
no, 9. I'm sorry. A, yes is 9, and no is 14.
So we have 14 no.
Ready for Wiltshire?
We have Mr. Wiltshire's next, yes.
All right, Mr. Wiltshire. Blaine Wiltshire,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Pass.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Christy Ross,
Pass.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Pass.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
No.
Robert Hennessy,
Pass.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
No.
Steve Glenn,
Pass.
Deborah Evans,
No.
Randy England,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
No.
Carla E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Michael Bell.
Yes.
Anyone want to change your vote? 14 yes, 9 no.
14 yes, you have a new chairman of the commission. So I assume you'll take this seat in October. Next item of business is the reading of minutes. Is there a motion to dispense with reading and approve our minutes from our last court session? We have a motion from Mr. Savage. Is there a second? Second from Commissioner Grissom. Anybody want to speak to that motion or have any corrections to said minutes? Then all in favor of adoption, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Next item is public comment. And so we have one public comment tonight, and so that is from Dan Sellers, who's the office representative for Edward Jones here in McMinnville. If he would come to the podium, he wanted to make public comment tonight.
That's a little low. So my name's Dan. We're gonna take it. So my name's Dan Sellers. I live over in Westwood here. I know some of you, many of you I don't. I really wanted to make a comment after things have been out in the news, have been on the radio. It's something I've discussed with some people, and I felt that it was my duty to at least make my feelings known and some other feelings of other individuals I've talked to. With the news, if what we're getting out of the county commission and what it's perceived as to the public is just gridlock and political maneuvering and all of this, it's something that I would rather watch on CNN happening somewhere else. I think seeing this in the county for myself is very much troublesome. If Washington wants to do it, let them do it. Let them have it. Here in Warren County, I think we're a little bit closer, we're a little more friends. And I'd really like to see less coming out in the news about maneuvering or stopping the county commission from doing things or that, and more focus on what the taxpayers have tasked all of you to do here, what they've tasked Executive Haley, by no small margin, honestly, that was brought up, that was a good point. The gridlock has to stop. I hope we can all work together. I hope you can do what, again, we sent you all here as the taxpayers, what you guys get paid for. Your time is much more valuable than mine is, so I won't take my full 2 minutes here, but in all honesty, I hope to see us after this, however it goes, work together and make some progress for this county and do what we sent you guys up here to do. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is employee recognition, and so I would like for Greg Bowden and Jack, if y'all would come to the podium here. To say the last year has been easy on Mr. Bowden is kind of an understatement, but he has been a faithful employee of Warren County for 15 years. And so he's worked tirelessly and diligently to help maintain our buildings from leaking roofs and failing HVACs, and even an elevator that once again has given us issues at the courthouse we've been dealing with for the last week. And so I would just like to recognize him for our appreciation as a county commission for your hard work and determination to keep things moving, to keep things operating, to keep our doors open. And so I want to present you with your award for tonight. And I also want to recognize Jack Poshumus, who is our new employee and assistant to our maintenance supervisor. And so he's become Greg's right-hand man and works at the jail every day fixing something. So we want to, give him a shout out too, that it's been a blessing for Greg and that we were able to include that in our budget this year. So I would like to step down from the podium and present Greg with particular appreciation. Not just say a little something about Jack.
Oh, you won't make me talk, okay. I appreciate this. A lot of y'all know me. Some don't. I mean, some of the new people might not. So I've been doing it almost 16 years in March. Glad that we got to hire another man, because it takes a load off me. We both can work together. Worked in the jail system before. That takes a load off of, put somebody in there that kind of don't know what they're doing, not make their life long. But we're getting a lot of stuff done. Frees me up to be with contractors where I need to be, when they're on roofs and stuff like that, When the PSG comes along, I'm gonna have to be tied up with them a lot to make sure that's all right. So, I want to thank everybody.
Thank you. It's done a remarkable job over the years, and we've been giving him this new budget, some new tools and resources to make his job a little bit easier on him. And so now we'll go on to the next item. It's elected officials, departmental reports. First is the June financial statements. Chair recognizes Justin Cotton, our finance director.
Thank you. You have my report. If you have any questions, I'll try to answer them at this time.
Do you have a motion to accept? We have a motion from Commissioner Carl Lebold, a second from Commissioner Stout. Anybody else want to speak to that motion? Then all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Next is agricultural UT-TSU extension. So Chair recognizes Mrs. Hilda Lowry.
Thank you very much. You all should have a copy of my report in your packet. If you have any questions, I'll be glad to try to answer those.
So we have a motion from Commissioner Bell. Is there a second from Commissioner Spartman? Anybody else want to speak to that motion? Then all in favor of adoption of that report say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Next is airport report. And so our chair recognizes Mr. Richard Crawford.
Good evening, Mr. Executive, County Commissioners. You have a copy of my report. I'll be happy to answer your questions.
Move to adopt.
We have a motion from Commissioner Lee. Is there a second? So I have a second from Commissioner Owens. Anybody else want to speak to that motion? Then all in favor of adoption of that report say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Next is the Codes Quarterly Report from Richard Thompson. So the chair recognizes him as he comes to the podium.
evening, Administrator Haley, members of the court. You have a copy of my report. I'd be glad to answer any questions you might have at this time.
We have a motion for Commissioner Wiltshire to approve. We have a second from Commissioner Glenn. Anybody else want to speak to that report? And all in favor say aye of adoption. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries.
Thank you.
Next is the MA report. So Chair recognizes Mr. Jim Cunningham.
Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, you have my report. If there's any questions, I'll try to answer them now.
So we have the report in front of you. Commissioner Bell, a recommendation to approve. Is there a second? Second from Commissioner Taylor. Anybody else want to speak to that report or that motion? Then all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Cunningham. Next is the MS report. So Chair recognizes Mr. Preston Denning.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and ladies and gentlemen of the court. Y'all have a copy of our report. We'd be happy to answer any questions.
Move to
We
adopt.
have a motion for Commissioner Lee, a second for Commissioner England. Anybody else want to speak to that report? All in favor of adoption, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Denning.
Thank you.
Next is Industrial Development Board report. So Chair recognizes Mr. Don Alexander.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. Be glad to try to answer any questions you have if you have one about
A motion for Commissioner Sparkman, second for Commissioner Stout. Anybody else want to speak to that motion or have questions about the report? And all in favor of adoption, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you. Motion carries. Thank you, Mr. Alexander. Next is committee reports. First committee report is Budget and Finance. Chair recognizes Chairman Grissom.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Budget and Finance has nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Building and Grounds. Chair recognizes.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Building and Grounds has nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Economic and Agricultural Development. Chair recognizes Mr. Gary Martin.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Economic and Agriculture Committee has nothing to report at this time. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Education. Chair recognizes Chairman Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At our last meeting in this month, we toured both Bobby Ray Elementary School and the middle school. So to see the progress of the two projects, very, very excited about the results. And Bobby Ray is just a few days away from being completed. And they'll be moving into the new administration wing there, and the buildings will all be connected except for the gymnasium. Mr. Cox also passed out a report about the results from the ESG report, project that's been going on, and is the average of $15,300 per month is a projected savings. And it's very exciting to see that this project is doing exactly as they had predicted, actually a little more. So we're looking forward to see what happens in the whole year from our savings. And our next meeting will be on Monday, October the 7th at 5 o'clock. Thank you.
Thank you. Next item is financial management. Mr. Cotton, do we have anything to report from financial management?
Financial management has nothing to report at this time.
Thank you. Health and Welfare Commissioner, Chairman Wiltshire.
Thank you, Executive Haley. Sherry, Animal Control Director, did go and look at a van this week, and hopefully we'll have a meeting sometime in the near future and discuss that further. Other than that, we have nothing to report.
Thank you. Highway and Bridge, Chairman Prater.
The grant money on the Turner Bend project is coming a little bit. It's coming. It just, a couple of weeks, Levy said. We have several more projects, major projects that we've got coming. We're just waiting on the funding. Thank you.
Next is Legislative Committee. So recognize Chairman Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. This new committee has met 3 times. I feel like we have a good plan of action of how we're going to address the document which we received, the rules regulating the procedures of the Warren County Legislative Body. We are going through them line by line, and we'll be preparing a revised and improved document for our commission to review, and you will be voting on it. Our next meeting is scheduled for next month, this coming Monday at 6:30 in the early voting room. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is Policy and Personnel. Recognize Chairman Savage.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. The Policy and Personnel met on Tuesday, August 10th, and discussed the codes update, and their motion was 5-0 to recommend the 2018 codes to the full commission. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
And I will have to add that when we get to that on the agenda, that I'll be asking for a motion to remove it. That resolution didn't get prepared, so I'll deal with that when we get to that motion, or to that item. Safety, recognize Chairman Lee.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. At this time, I'd like to report that our EMS is in the process of buying a new ambulance and having one remounted without having to borrow any money. And also, our Sheriff's Department is in the process of buying some new vehicles also. Thank you.
Thank you. Next is County Corrections Partnership. Recognize Chairman Helton.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Today's population is 260 at the jail. We did have a meeting. In that meeting, we made a motion on the excess radios that the Sheriff's Department has, where we replaced those radios to send it on for review for financial management to review. We was wanting to try to donate those to local fire departments. There may be a little bit of a hitch there in the last. I got a phone call from Mr. Bratcher about an hour before that meeting, and there may be some things that we need to look into legally, whether we can do that or not, but the committee did go ahead and vote that on through. ESG has not started working out at the jail yet. I believe they are starting to work here at the administration building, talking with the sheriff. They're got some stuff on order. Everything's special correction grades type stuff, so it's going to take a little bit slower time to get started out there, but we're excited about that. CO hiring, they have hired a number of COs out there and continue to try to fill those positions. We're possibly going to meet on October the 3rd. I've got to get with Ms. Jackie and verify that is okay. We also discussed one other thing, and I'm actually going to call on Commissioner Stouts on this because it's his expertise. We talked about the counselor position, and we sort of left it as between the sheriff and Commissioner Stouts to try to get together a plan of action on that as far as the description and stuff, and I'll actually turn it over to Commissioner Stouts to give us an update on that.
You say Philip Stout or Joseph Stotts?
Stotts. Didn't mean to put you on the spot there.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Stotts.
The sheriff's not here tonight. We spoke earlier today on the phone. We met in our meeting last week. Previously spoken with him on multiple occasions about the direction of the jail in regards to our mental health line item that we have now that we can utilize for mental health services at the jail. I've spoken to Executive Haley about ideas in regards to this line item. Where I'm at right now and where I feel like the sheriff's at, I did call him before speaking tonight because I did not want to say anything that I did not feel like he was completely on board with. So I doubled back around and spoke with him. And where we're at is we have a line item that we voted on in July. The purpose of this line item would be to utilize counseling services at our jail as a prevention effort for suicide, decreased recidivism rates. In all honesty, also, we're working with these individuals on daily life skills, behavior modification, all these things. With that as well, that's going to cut down some of the destruction that has occurred over the years in our jail if we're doing that correctively and effectively. So ultimately, it's a win-win. We're saving lives and we're saving the internal components of our jail. I would like to see us move forward with this. It's been 2 months. We've presented ideas that appear to be effective on my end and the sheriff's end. And I would like to see movement. I'd like to see us move forward. There are people, as we have discussed in this court over the last year, there are people in our jail that need help. They need assistance. If we want to see recidivism rates decrease, we need to get this moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you. No business from the redistricting committee, but I will say that we'll be forming that committee soon, And as part of that, our local census committee has been meeting diligently. I'm chair of that, and we've unveiled our signage as part of our branding. Seth Wright at the Southern Standard did this so that United States Census 2020, Warren counts. So everybody counts. And so we'll determine how our districts are drawn locally, statewide, and nationally, and our representation on this commission as well as across the state and the nation. So we will be working diligently toward getting that information out. So when the census does kick off, we'll have everyone on board.
Executive Haley, I would like,
Recognize Commissioner Wiltshire.
before we get into old or new business, I had spoke with Charles Curtis several times today, and if I'm chairman, which I am now, it is immediate. And before we get into new business, which will include committee appointments, which I will recommend as chair, I would like to have a recess and then take the chair after the recess.
It's not a motion. Sorry.
Well, I can make that motion. I would make a motion that we recess, and that way I can give Lisa the list so that she can get copies to distribute to everybody.
I also talked to Mr. Curtis today, and he said it was normally the chairman would take in October, not in September, unless it was an election year. So I'm not sure which is matters not.
Well, I know that I've spoke with him several times today. He told me he recommended us adopt it the first thing because the chair, in his opinion, was able to take the chair immediately, which I decided not to do because you had already prepared the docket. And that's why.
So you're making that a motion.
Yes, I'll make that a motion.
So we have a motion of Commissioner Wiltshire for him to assume the chair of the commission. So is there a second then?
I'll second.
We have a second of Commissioner Prater. All in favor say aye. Aye. So I guess we're going on recess and you will assume this chair.
Folks, our meeting will come back to order.
All right, the first item that is up, item number 1, is to elect the chairman pro tem and parliamentarian. If you have the list in front of you as chair, I can recommend who I feel would be appropriate for those two positions. And as you can see, first I recommend Scott Rubley to be chairman pro tem, and I would entertain a motion for that.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Chairman.
A motion by Commissioner Bell.
I'll second it.
Second by Carl D. Bowden, I believe. Tyrone Sparkman. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Next motion will be parliamentarian. My recommendation is Joseph Stotts.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner England. Second by Robert Hennessy. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, first committee that we will look at is Highway and Bridge Committee. Now, what we're going to do this the way that it was recommended us to do it by the state. And we're going to vote by committee. Once we set the committee members will vote tonight on their chair. And that is, I have talked to Charles Curtis and Ben Rogers both. That is the way that it should be done, and that is the way that we will do it. So my recommendation for Highway and Bridge, as you can see in front of you, are Gary Prater, Michael Bell, Cole Taylor, Randy England, and myself. And I would entertain motion to either accept that or make nominations.
I make a motion to accept your recommendation.
Motion by Commissioner Helton.
I make a motion to nominate Cole Taylor as chair.
Okay, we've got to accept the committee first. Yes. We have a motion to accept the committee. Is there a second? Second by Tyrone Sparkman. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, now we will open the floor for nominations for chair.
Hi, point of order, Mr. Chairman. Is just the committee members to be the one that can vote?
Correct. Only committee members can vote for their chair.
I'd like to make a motion we elect Gary Prater as our chairman.
We have a motion by Randy England, second by Michael Bell. All on that committee in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? All right. Next committee is County Corrections Partnership Committee. My recommendation is Stephen D. Helton, Carl D. Bolden, Steve Glenn, Carl E. Bolden, Joseph Stotts.
Motion to accept your recommendation, Mr. Chairman.
A motion by Scott Ruble, second by Stevie Glenn. All in favor? Any opposed? All right. Now I would accept nominations for the chair from those committee members. Hold on, Stevie, you were first. Okay, we have a motion from Commissioner Glenn. Second by Commissioner Stotts. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? I can't vote. I'm sorry, folks. I'm used to voting on stuff, so take that down. All right, that committee stands. Next is Policy and Personnel Committee. Tommy Savage, Steve Glenn, Stephen D. Helton, Ron Lee, Tyrone Sparkman.
I make a motion we accept your recommendation, Chairman.
A motion from Commissioner Helton. Second from Cole Taylor. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? All right.
I recommend Tommy Savage be our chairman.
Okay, there is a motion from Commissioner Lee. Second by Commissioner Helton. All in favor on that committee? Any opposed? All right, that stands. Next is Health and Welfare. That is myself, David Dunlap, Deborah Evans, Lori Judkins, and Joseph Stotts. Have a motion from Commissioner Carl D. Bolden. Second from Tyrone Sparkman. All in favor? Aye. I can vote. I'm a commissioner. I represent the 4th District, so I can vote on that. All right, now we want to nominate a chair for that committee from that committee.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend Lane Fletcher.
All right, we have a nomination from Commissioner Dunlap.
Second.
Second from Commissioner Stotts. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that committee stands. Next committee is Education Committee. Carlene Brown, David Dunlap, Deborah Evans, Robert Hennessy, Philip Stout.
Make a motion we accept your recommendation.
Motion is made by Commissioner Helton. Second by Commissioner Glenn. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, we need a motion for chair of that committee.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion to elect Carlene Brown as chair.
All right, we have a motion from Commissioner Hennessy. Second from Commissioner Evans. All in favor on that committee? Any opposed? Committee stands. Next committee is Economic and Agricultural Development Committee. This is Gary Martin, Michael Bell, Carl D. Bolden, Ron Lee, and Tommy Savage.
I move we accept your recommendations.
We have a motion from Commissioner Helton. Second from Commissioner England. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, that committee stands. Now we want nominations for chair.
Gary Martin for chair.
Okay, we had a nomination from Commissioner Lee, second from Michael Bell. All in favor on that committee? Any opposed? Next is Building and Grounds. This will be Carl E. Bolden, Robert Hennessy, Richard Grissom, Philip Stout, Cole Taylor.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Commissioner Bell.
Second.
Second by Commissioner Rubley. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Now we will entertain a motion for the chair.
I'll make that motion, Mr. Carl Bolden.
We have a motion from Commissioner Taylor. We have a second from Commissioner Grissom. All in favor on that committee? Any opposed? Committee stands. Next committee will be Budget and Finance Committee. My recommendations are Scott Rubley, Randy England, Cole Taylor, Christy Ross, Tommy Savage.
I make a motion we accept your recommendation.
We have a motion from Commissioner Helton, second from Commissioner Stout. All in favor? Aye. All opposed?
No.
All right, let's do a roll call vote.
Mr. Chair, if I may address the court.
Yes.
Folks, I don't know if you realize this or not. One of the most important committees is Budget and Finance. There's been 3 people that have been progressive throughout this year that are no longer on Budget and Finance. Everything has to go through Budget and Finance. You can see the committee that's selected here. If you look at the history of the vote of those individuals that's been appointed, you will see what their history is on the vote here in this court. It looks to me that this is a little bit off-sided. It's not balanced like it was, and I firmly object the nomination of these individuals to this particular committee.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we will entertain some nominations also.
Mr. Chairman, I believe you have a motion on the floor to accept this as is, and we're going to do a roll call vote first.
That's correct.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
No.
David Dunlap,
Pass.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
No.
Steve Glenn,
No.
Richard Grissom, Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Robert Hennessy,
No.
Lori, Ron Lee,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
No.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christy Ross,
Pass.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
No.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change your vote? Yes, no.
Motion passes 14-9. All right, we need a nomination for a chair of that committee.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Scott Rubley.
We have a motion by Commissioner England. A second by Commissioner Taylor. All in favor on that committee? Any opposed? Next committee is Safety and Beer Board. Ron Lee, Daniel Owens, Gary Prater, Christy Ross, Randy England.
Motion to accept your recommendation.
I have a motion from Commissioner Helton. Second from Commissioner Bell. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, committee stands. Now we need a nomination for the chair.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to nominate Ron Lee.
We have a nomination from Commissioner Ross. Second from Commissioner England. All in favor on that committee? Any opposed? Okay, we will skip past financial management because it is the next item, but we will go to redistricting committee. Now, what we have done in the past, legislative, thank you, Commissioner Bell. We will go with legislative committee, and my recommendations are Joseph Stotts, Carl D. Bolden, Robert Hennessy, Daniel Owens, Carleen Brown.
Motion to approve, per your recommendation.
We have a motion from Commissioner Helton, second from Commissioner Sparkman. Stout. All in favor? Aye. All opposed? All right. Now we need a nomination for chair. My recommendation is that we would stay with the chair because this was just appointed. That's my recommendation only.
I recommend we stay with Carleen Brown as the chairman.
We have a motion from Carl Bolden. We have a second from Commissioner Hennessy. All in favor on that committee? Aye. Any opposed? All right. Now we will skip past financial management. As I was saying on redistricting, I have talked with Charles Curtis a number of times about this, and in the past we have basically had two individuals. At some point we've had one appointed to this committee, which they do not meet regularly. It really just has to do with the census. What I would like to do, and I did talk with Charles Curtis about this, is I've recommended that we have two independent candidates, a Democrat and a Republican, so that it is an even committee, and Charles recommended at least 4 members to the committee. And so my recommendation would be Randy England, Tyrone Sparkman, Philip Stout, and Lori Judkins.
Move to accept your recommendation, Mr. Chairman.
I have a motion from Commissioner Rubley. I have a second from Commissioner Sparkman. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right. I would like to entertain a nomination for a chair of that committee.
Mr. Chairman.
I'd like to nominate Randy England.
I have a nomination from Commissioner Sparkman, a second from Commissioner Stout. All in favor? Any opposed? All right, that committee stands. As we know, the Procedure and Rules Committee, that is chairs of each committee. Now we will go to item number 2, or item number 3, the Financial Management Committee appointments. As you can see in front of you, my recommendations are Jimmy Haley, Levy Glenn, Bobby Cox, Gary Martin, Scott Rubley, Tyrone Sparkman, and Richard Grissom.
Motion to accept your recommendation.
I have a motion from Commissioner Helton, a second from Commissioner Stout.
Mr. Chairman, I think what I've read, that has to be opened up to take votes from the floor also.
Okay.
That committee does.
We can do that. You have papers in front of you. We want to open this up to the nomination process. I've made my wishes known.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Gary Martin.
We have a motion from
Second that.
A motion from Commissioner Rubley, a second from Commissioner Helton.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Scott Rubley.
We have a motion from Commissioner England, a second from Commissioner Sparkman.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Richard Grissom.
We have a motion from Commissioner Prater, second from Commissioner Bell.
Mr. Chairman, I would like to nominate Daniel Owens.
We have a motion from Commissioner Ross.
Mr. Chairman.
Second from Commissioner Glenn.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to recommend Tyrone Sparkman, please.
We have a motion from Commissioner Bolden.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Levy Glenn.
We need to get a. We need a second. We need a second from the last one. All right, we have a second from Commissioner Rubley.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to nominate Tommy Savage.
Okay, we have a nomination from Commissioner Evans. We have a second from Commissioner Owens.
Make a motion, nomination cease.
We have a second on that as well. Motion by Commissioner Bell. All right.
Mr. Chairman, I make a motion that we vote on these in the order that they were nominated.
All right, we have a motion to go in the order they were nominated, but we don't have a second. Second by Gary Prater. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Okay, if we'll do a roll call vote on the oppose your motion.
Mr. Chairman, we vote on one or just how many times we get to vote?
We're not voting just yet. We didn't have a unanimous vote, so we're going to roll call vote on whether to vote in the order that the nominations were taken.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
We're voting on the voting order being the order of the nominations.
Only one person said no, call for a show of hands. If you don't have at least 3 objections, you go on to objections.
Okay, let's do that. Those opposed, raise your hand.
How you vote?
All right. All right, does everybody understand you'll have 5 votes? 4 votes. So use the yellow pad that you have in front of you to keep up with your votes. You get 4.
Mr. Chairman, may we hear the list of nominations again, please?
we have Gary Martin, Scott Rubley, Richard Grissom, Daniel Owens, Tyrone Spartman, and Tommy Savage. Okay. The first one will be Gary Martin. Second will be Scott Rubley. Third will be Richard Grissom. Fourth is Daniel Owens. Number 5 is Tyrone Spartman. Number 6 is Tommy Savage. All right, one more time. Gary Martin, Scott Rubley, Richard Grissom, Daniel Owens, Tyrone Spartman, Tommy Savage. Everybody good? We'll be voting on Gary Martin. Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Pass.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Steve Glenn,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
No.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Robert Hennessy,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Pass.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Pass.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change their vote? All right, the next one will be Scott Ruble. Blaine Wiltshire,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
No.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
No.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Pass.
Robert Hennessy,
Yes.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Steve Glenn,
No.
Deborah Evans,
No.
Randy England,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Michael Bell.
Yes.
Anyone want to change their vote? All right, the next one is Richard Grissom. Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Steve Glenn,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Pass.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Robert Hennessy,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
No.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change their vote?
Change my vote.
Change your vote. You're changing it to? Changing it to
Change it to pass.
pass. All right, the next one is Daniel Owens. Blaine Wiltshire,
Pass.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
No.
Joseph Stotts,
Excuse me. It's a good question. We're voting on Daniel?
yes.
No.
Tyrone Spartman,
No.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Pass.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Pass.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Yes.
Robert Hennessy,
Pass.
Stephen Helton,
Pass.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Steve Glenn,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Randy England,
Pass.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Pass.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Michael Bell.
Yes.
Anyone want to change your vote? All right, the next one is for Tyrone Sparkman. Michael Bell,
Pass.
Carl D. Bolden,
Pass.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Pass.
David Dunlap,
Pass.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
No.
Steve Glenn,
Pass.
Richard Grissom,
No.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Robert Hennessy,
No.
Ron Lee,
Pass.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Pass.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
No.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Pass.
Tyrone Spartman,
Pass.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes, for Mr. Sparkman.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Pass.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change your vote? All right, last one is Tommy Savage. Huh? Too late, sir. Blaine Wiltshire? Wait a minute, is that the way it went?
I'm out.
Pass then. Cole Taylor,
Pass.
these lines run together, I'm sorry. Philip Stout,
Now.
Joseph Stotts,
I'm out.
Tyrone Spartman,
No.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
I'm out.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
No.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Yes.
Robert Hennessy,
Yes.
Stephen Helton,
No.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Steve Glenn,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Randy England,
I'm out.
David Dunlap,
Pass.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
I'm out.
Carl D. Bolden,
Pass.
Michael Bell.
Pass.
Does anyone want to change your vote?
That's okay.
right, the four commissioners that are members of the Financial Management Committee are Gary Martin, Scott Rubley, Richard Grissom, and Daniel Owens. All right. We're ready for item number 4, which is the Trinity 3 lease. And basically, that is a 4-year lease agreement between the Warren County Board of Education and Trinity 3 for computers and laptops. And I would entertain a motion.
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Prater, a second by Commissioner Bell. All in favor? Aye. I'm sorry. We have to do a roll call.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Harley Brown,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Steve Glenn,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Robert Hennessy,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Lane Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone will change your vote? 23 yes.
Okay, next item number 5 is USDA appropriation memo, $2 million loan from USDA through Caney Fork for the ESG project.
So moved.
I have a motion from Commissioner Prater, a second from Commissioner Taylor.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Harley Brown,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Steve Glenn,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Robert Hennessy,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Lane Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone will change your vote? 23 yes.
Motion passes 23 yes. Item number 6 is resolution number 26-219, the tax exemption for certain community and performing arts organizations.
So moved.
We have a motion from Commissioner Brown, a second from Commissioner Hennessy.
I'd like to speak to the motion.
Chair recognizes Commissioner Prater.
Does this exempt from property taxes? Is this a property tax exemption? Can anyone answer that question? So we don't even know what we're voting on?
It's in section one.
It's exemption. They're probably already exempt from sales tax. If so, that goes through the state. That has nothing to do with the county. So what I'm taking it as, it's property tax.
Mr. Chairman, if I could speak,
Yes, Executive Haley.
I have a microphone. Most nonprofit organizations get tax exemption from the state, but there is a clause from the Comptroller's Office that I think was may have been included in your packet, Tennessee Code annotated 67-5-223 is the statute that governs exemptions of community and performing arts organizations. The statute only applies in counties that approved applicability by 2/3 vote by the county governing body. And so Warren Arts is a nonprofit organization that fosters, theater and community development. And so normally they get automatic tax exemption, but in the TCA, performing arts, for it to be tax exempt from property taxes, they must have a vote in front of this commission as a resolution and it must pass by 2/3 vote.
So we are talking about property taxes.
Yes. This was the recommendation from Beth Martin's office that we take this route. So most everything else comes from the state, or already it is automatic with the paperwork. But this one, because it's specific to performing arts studios, and it has to be passed as a resolution, it has to be passed by 2/3 vote.
Mr. Executive, do we know what kind of dollar figure we're looking at as far as the exemption is concerned? Are we talking $500 or $1,000 or $20?
It's out there on that building on Highway 55.
And also, are the artists that are performing in there, do they get paid or are they all volunteers?
No, they're all volunteers. It's a nonprofit 501c3 organization, just like any other nonprofit is that gets tax exemption. And normally it's automatic, but in Tennessee code, since they're a performing arts group, it has to be specifically designated as a resolution presented to this commission, and must pass by 16 votes.
But this is not specific to Warren Performing Arts. Could that include some of your karate studios and stuff that's in?
They have to be a 501c3, not for profit. So like I said, any other nonprofit, whether it's a museum or anything that's related to an organization, could be anything from kids of the community, they automatically get it because they're a 501c3. But because the code says this in here, that performing arts has to be passed by resolution, that's why it was presented in this fashion.
Mr. Chairman, may I speak to this?
Yes.
issue? I'd just like to say on behalf of Warren Arts, this is a group of people who are from various businesses. Some are teachers, some are they used to be Oster. They devote their time. Our children in our county are really benefiting from this, from these people volunteering their time to help these children learn how to act and sing, and it's definitely a worthy thing. We buy season tickets to go to support them, but it's really a worthwhile endeavor.
Mr. Chair, can I speak to that motion as well?
Yes, Commissioner Stotts.
I just want to make a comment about Warren Arts as well. As many of you know, we've had recent loss in our community, and Warren Arts specifically put on a benefit for this family. This family greatly benefited from the help of Warren Arts, and I would just like to bring that to light. And I don't think that's the first time they've done that. They've done that multiple times. They're a wonderful organization in my experience.
Mr. Chairman, I also would like to recommend that we pass this because we need to foster things for our children, things for them to get involved in. And I haven't personally attended one, but I have seen a lot of good things off of Facebook and other things where these people and kids are involved, and they're always putting on plays, and there's a lot of good things coming out of there. So it would be my recommendation that we approve this as well.
Do we have a motion?
Motion.
A motion by Commissioner Stotts.
I'll second.
We had a motion tonight.
This was discussion.
Okay, Commissioner Prater made the motion. We get a second?
I did not make a motion.
Okay, Robert, Commissioner Hennessy seconded it. Is there any more discussion?
Yes, sir. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I looked it up on Tennessee property data, and somewhere around $570. That's just rough math with a new tax increase. But I think it's painting with a broad brush if you say every one of these. They do great things, I know, but I think it's painting with too broad of a brush if you say everything would be tax exempt. I think each one would have to apply to get that.
Do we need to change the wording in the resolution, Robert?
I make a motion, you make the motion specific to Warren Arts and not to certain community and performing arts organizations. That could include someone that might not be as deserving as this particular one is.
Would that be appropriate?
The way it's worded now is for any performing arts studio, whatever that may be. So if you want to restrict it, that's not what this resolution does currently.
So we don't need to vote on this resolution then?
No, you can amend it if you want to change it to a specific.
Okay.
That's what I just made the motion.
All right, we have a motion to amend it to specifically make it for Warren Arts.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Commissioner Helton. Any more discussion? We need to vote on the amendment. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Now we'll vote.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Steve Glenn,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Robert Hennessy,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
No.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
No.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change their vote? 21 yes, 2 no.
Motion passes 21 to 2. Next item is item number 7, resolution number 27-219, which is the 9/11 fee. This is a
so
resi-
moved.
Have a motion from Commissioner Lee, second from Commissioner Taylor.
Can I speak to the motion, Mr. Chairman?
Yes, you may.
Being on the 911 board, this is much needed revenue that we need to help run our 911 system all across the state of Tennessee, but especially ours. So this is just a resolution showing our support for this, and I'd appreciate it if our commission would support this. This should really help our 911. Thank you.
Any more discussion?
What is that increase?
It's 34 cents. It's a penny a day. It'd be 34 cents a month on your phone.
What was the increase that the commission gave the 911 this year on this year's budget? Mr. Cotton.
I believe it was 15,000 from 145 to 160.
And Carl, this could help us not having to do that next year. Do you understand what I'm saying? This is through the phone companies, this is. So with that added revenue, it may be something we could look at next year that we might not have to fund as much.
No other discussion. Let's call for the vote.
Michael Bell,
Yes.
Carl D. Bolden,
Yes.
Carl E. Bolden,
Yes.
Carleen Brown,
Yes.
David Dunlap,
Yes.
Randy England,
Yes.
Deborah Evans,
Yes.
Steve Glenn,
Yes.
Richard Grissom,
Yes.
Stephen Helton,
Yes.
Robert Hennessy,
Yes.
Ron Lee,
Yes.
Gary Martin,
Yes.
Daniel Owens,
Yes.
Gary Prater,
Yes.
Christie Ross,
Yes.
Scott Ruble,
Yes.
Tommy Savage,
Yes.
Tyrone Spartman,
Yes.
Joseph Stotts,
Yes.
Philip Stout,
Yes.
Cole Taylor,
Yes.
Blaine Wiltshire.
Yes.
Anyone want to change your vote? 23 yes.
Item number 8 is the International Building Codes.
Mr. Chairman,
Chair recognizes Commissioner Helton.
it's my understanding that I don't think we are ready. I'll ask Executive Haley here, but I don't think that resolution has actually been written. Is that correct?
It's not been written yet, so there's been a lot of other things that the county attorney's been dealing with the last couple of days, so that resolution, so probably need to entertain a motion to defer that to the October meeting.
I'd make that motion.
Motion made by Commissioner Helton, second by Commissioner Bell. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? Item number 10, Area Agency on Aging and Disability Appointment Confirmation.
Point of order.
Yes,
I believe you missed number 9.
I did. Disciplinary Review Board Appointment Confirmation.
Mr. Chairman, I make the motion to approve the recommendation.
We have a motion from Commissioner Rubley. Second from Commissioner Stout. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed? All right, next is item 10, Area Agency on Aging and Disability Appointment Confirmation.
Make a motion that we accept the one that's recommended.
I'll second that.
We have a motion by Commissioner Bell, a second by Commissioner Prater. All in favor? Aye. Any opposed?
Mr. Chairman, the names of those persons that were on the disciplinary board had to be mentioned by name and entered into the minutes. And also the person for aging that was recommended by the Upper Cumberland Development Aging Area Agency, as well as the Senior Center, Lana Whitlock, that'd be Patty Ray from there. But the confirmation was for Raymond Adcock, and that has to be entered into the minutes.
All right, so noted. All right, last item is 11, which is approval of notaries. You should have a list beside you. I would entertain a motion to approve those.
Motion.
Motion by Commissioner England. Second by Commissioner Dunlap. All in favor? At this time, Executive Haley has some announcements.
And in order to enter into the minutes, the county executive has appointment power for the utility districts, and it just has to be entered into the minutes. But for the West Warren Utility, Viola Utility District, I placed Katrina Wood on that to replace her father who passed, who had served on that board for several years. Also would like to announce that there'll be 2 IDB vacancies, and those recommendations will come to you. A couple of other announcements. Wish to announce that the county received the 3-star grant for Snap-on tools. So Dr. Locks and I will be looking for an instructor and setting that program up as soon as we get the information. We also got a Department of Health bike racks and bike routes across the county, and we'll be also, we've applied for a workforce development grant to pay for the tuition, the equipment and supplies for the virtual reality welding program that I partnered with TCAT and Dr. Locks that will be introduced to the jail. So that Snap-on tools will be at the jail. The workforce development will also be at the jail and introducing more programs. And so we'll run those through committees and bring those to the county commission for vote. A couple of other things to be brought up as well. Most of you saw the transit buses from UCHRA. We worked very hard to get that transportation route to Warren County. And so Crossville will be getting one of those as well here in the next week. But the buses are here and delivered, and they operated during Fair Week. And that leads me to say we had a great fair over the last 10 days. And so I thank everybody, the volunteers. Glad it was over, but we wanted to thank all the volunteers and sponsors. And so we have one of the best fairs in the whole state. We were recognized for that last year. At that fair, I did a proclamation on September 12th recognizing it as Darrell Wardley Day across our county, and he was very humbled by that measure. Another couple of things or whatever, the radios that was discussed by Commissioner Helton, those have been inspected by Raymond Roberts, who's the chief spokesman for the rural fire departments. And so he's picked out several of those that will be taken off the sheriff's surplus list. Those will be presented to financial management, and we'll work out the best route to get those out to the rural fire departments. Still working with David Britton about our ADA compliance, so some of those things have already begun, but we've got to get that plan in place as well. We've been working diligently with FEMA and NRCS on our disaster money from that February flood that did so much damage to the county. So been on the phone with them for the past several months, but constantly the last couple of days trying to make sure that we, subscribe to all the rules and regulations of the federal government on this funding. And so that's an important thing to do. We'll note that in the next month, Governor Lee will be visiting Warren County. Also, UT President Randy Boyd will be here as well. And the Governor's Conference for Economic Community Development will be coming up in October as well. And I've been asked to present and discuss the success of the county and the great strides we've made in economic community development over the last few years. And so that will be something I'll bring back as a report to the commission. I do also want to welcome Christy Ross to the commission tonight. She had surgery, so we're glad that she's back on the mend again and was able to attend. So we're glad that has happened. And then I'll be working once again as I host a Christmas dinner for all county employees. And if any of the commissioners wish to contribute gift cards or anything for giveaways for that again this year, I'll be working with the school system to provide that. And I will be hosting it at the middle school again. So all of our employees are welcome to attend. And it's a good way to say thanks to the many people who allow our services to be provided to all of our residents and all of our citizens. So those are, I think, all the announcements that I have to make tonight.
Thank you, Executive Haley. I would entertain a motion to adjourn. Motion by Commissioner Stout, second. Commissioner England, all in favor? Aye.